$600,000 in excise tax funding to capital project T7101 State County Shared Intersections from capital project J4148 Dorsey Run Road Extension, making certain text changes to the detail pages for capital project T7101 in order to authorize certain studies to be funded by the transfer. And then we have Resolution 150, introduced by Greg Fox. This is a resolution proposing to add a section to Article 8, centralized purchasing of the Howard County Charter, to limit the exercise of eminent domain so that the power is used only for public purposes and not for private economic development, and submitting this amendment to the voters of Howard County for their adoption or rejection in accordance with Article 10 of the Howard County Charter and Article 11A of the Maryland Constitution.
Exercise its right under 16122 of the Howard County Code to reserve any land on any of the properties in that surrounding area.
That's being done. There is a reservation placed on an existing subdivision that's going through the Pizza Hut project. There's a reservation. That's what you're asking about?
Is there a reservation actually being placed on there now?
Oh,
or is it planned to be placed on there?
It's being reviewed right now as part of the DPZ's project, and there is a reservation on there.
So just want to be, I guess, clear. I mean, a lot of the things that people were concerned about at the planning board having to do with potential impact on the property owners because of the planned $4.3 million project would still exist if this project for the study funds were approved, because the county would have the ability to place a reservation on that property.
Only on that one. The only one I'm aware of is the Pizza Hut property. There's no other reservation contemplated at this point. We're not.
But is that because there's no other plans for new development within, like for example, if Kendall's were to replace the buildings or put buildings on the back where they've been cited for the storage containers and wanted to move forward with some of their plans that they originally had, would a reservation potentially be put on their plan as well?
I can't really answer that. I would hope that the study would be done before that would ever take place so that we can work something out with the adjoining properties if we decide to move forward with a road connection. At this point, we're just going to do a study.
Would you have a problem if there was an amendment that was filed with the TAO #1 that precluded the county from being able to exercise its right under 16122 to place reservation on any land adjoining within 500 feet of Great Star Drive in 108 and Auto Drive in 108?
I think that's a legal question because it's an interpretation of the subdivision regulations, so I guess I'd like to talk to Ms. Nolan about that before I answer that question.
Assuming it's legal, would you have a problem with it?
I think the question is we need to get the study done so that we can make sure that any options included, that they still prevail. So that's one of the issues of timing. The only property I know that's going through the process right now is the Pizza Hut. So we hopefully can get the study done before anybody else goes through that process.
How long do you anticipate that study taking?
Hopefully, it's probably going to take about, I would say about 6 months to finish that, depending on how, I guess, how accepting the community is. If we come up with a plan, we go through the public hearing process and there needs to be changes, that could extend out.
Do you think it's fair to the property owner, Pizza Hut property owner, to have had their plans held up to this point, and then also have a reservation now placed on that property?
Well, it's authorized under the regulations. So I'm not going to value. I can't say if it's fair or unfair, but it's authorized under the county code to do that.
As part of this, the whereas language in the TAO, it references section 613 of the Howard County Charter, allowing the county council to amend the budget after its final adoption upon the recommendation of the county executive and the planning board. When that part of the charter is utilized, it typically requires 4 votes, not 3. But it's my understanding that the recommendation, based off of other things, is that they're in trying to do the process this way, is that they're trying to get this to only require 3 votes by the county. Are you aware of that, or do you understand why that decision was made?
I'm aware of what those requirements are. I think the difference was originally, the original proposal that went before the planning board was a new project that went beyond just the study. It was also to do land acquisition and preliminary engineering. Given all the opposition to that effort, we decided that we would not do any of that. We strictly would do a study, which is more in line with the existing project that we're trying to amend. So it's not as substantial, and so that's why we decided to use an existing project as a study avenue.
But section 613 doesn't talk about any options where the vote only requires a majority. It only discusses if you're utilizing that process and utilizing the planning board, and the planning board makes a recommendation, which is what happened in this case, and they actually recommended a new capital project. They didn't recommend doing it the way that you're doing it, and that is referenced in 613. That would lead me to believe that section 613 would have to be followed in its entirety, not partially, and therefore would require 4 votes of the council.
And members, we will, it's likely that we will take up this issue at a work session also. I know there are a lot of citizens waiting here to testify, so I want us to kind of wrap this section up and then hear from our residents if possible.
I appreciate your sentiment, and I appreciate everybody for coming out tonight. I just want to make sure that the issues are on the table and everybody understands some of the issues that are out there and why the concerns are there, that it's not as simple as this is now a study and all it is a study. I just want to make sure everybody understands that as things are going forward this way, that it's still potentially impacting business owners, and that there's other options, and there's things that decisions have been made in the process that have made it potentially easier for things to go through, have taken away part of the negotiating ability of the property owners as this process has moved forward. And that's why I plan on introducing the amendment that precludes the ability to put reservations on any of the properties during this period of time. And it's one of the reasons why I didn't go through the process of going with the Charter Review Commission to file the eminent domain legislation, is because I felt that the time was now. I understand it may not directly impact this particular issue right now, but it's just highlighted, accentuated by the situations that are going on.
With mine, Maryland. And I'm here to see what all the excitement's about this evening. I have my own opinions. I'm going to start out by saying our founding fathers used the phrase life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness in the Declaration of Independence to tell the tyrannical King of England that average citizens had a right to property ownership. These same founders went on to insert the Fourth Amendment into the Bill of Rights of the U.S. Constitution, which varies the government's ability to seize private property. James Madison, our 4th president, stated, "Where an excess of power prevails, property of no sort is duly respected, no man is safe in his opinions, his person, his faculties, or his possessions." You, the Howard County Council, have 2 pieces of business before you tonight regarding the proposed Clarksville Commons project. And before you proceed, you need to ask the following question. Why wasn't access to 108 considered when the county was reviewing bids for Clarksville Commons? And why can't the current 108 frontage be utilized? Growing up in Howard County, it was not uncommon for me to visit Kendall's Hardware with my father. And as you can witness, I've paid too many visits to Pizza Hut. Both of these businesses have supported the economic engine of Howard County through hard work and diligence by their business owners. The county has collected millions in property taxes, income taxes, sales taxes, and licensing fees from both. Please tell me you are not willing to harm the goose that laid the proverbial golden egg for some new and untried business. I'm also shocked at the strong-arm methods of the Office of Planning and Zoning in regards to what appears to be retaliatory zoning violations. It's amazing how quickly these violations were cited after property owners and those supporters testified against the county executive plans of the planning board. The county council needs to rein in this abuse of government and not allow the potential for Howard County to lose in court. In closing, I would ask the council to uphold the view of our founding fathers and let the citizens of Howard County enjoy the fruits of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Please vote to support Councilman Fox's amendment to the county charter and restrict the ability of the county to use eminent domain to take property for economic benefit of others. And please restrict money for property acquisition or the ability for the county to place reservations on any of the properties if you decide to fund the study. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Delegate. Any questions? All right, enjoy your evening.
members of the County Council. My name is Brian Meshkin. I reside at 7706 Water Street, Fulton, Maryland. I'm here to testify tonight in favor of Council Resolution 150. I support economic development, but I gotta tell you, I'm against crony capitalism. Government, whether it's federal, state, or local, should never be in the situation of picking winners or losers in the free market. The use of eminent domain to bully local businesses in Clarksville is an example here in Howard County of crony capitalism. The economic development that has made us successful is the effort of free people and free markets, of innovation and of hard work. But crony capitalism is all about government bailouts, waste, and influence peddling. This is a slap in the face to small business owners, the true entrepreneurs, like John Schulte of Pizza Hut of Maryland and the Kendall family. Small business owners create jobs, but they don't have the lobbyists or the campaign contributions to grease the wheels of government power. Now, some will say that eminent domain is required for economic development, but this is a myth. We in Howard County know better. In 2 years, in 2013, it will have been 50 years since a private firm named the Rouse Company purchased more than 15,000 acres from over 140 owners here without the use of eminent domain to establish what could only be considered a massive effort in economic development, the city we now call Columbia. From Columbia to Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida, all across this nation, the private sector is engaged in massive efforts of economic development without the use of eminent domain. The economy of this country has been built by the private sector, not the government. Though government can sometimes play an important role as facilitator, it's the economic freedom of the private sector that has assembled the land, built the businesses, built the homes that have led to our tremendous success. Growing up in Howard County, my first job when I was 14 years of age was picking vegetables on Waterford Farm. So I can tell you when I was 16, I was ecstatic to be in the air conditioning working as a server at Pizza Hut in Clarksville. I learned some valuable lessons about hard work and the value of the dollar. I'm proud to take my wife and kids to that same Pizza Hut today and tell them the stories about my experience. I also have a special place in my heart for Kendall's Hardware. I enjoy telling my 3 kids Howard County's own David and Goliath story. Years ago, a big box hardware store was built next to the old Kendall's Hardware, which was just a small structure at the time. It seemed that this big retailer was going to squash the small house that was occupied by Kendall's. As we all know, the Kendall family won that battle in the free market, and that big box store went out of business. And there was no better irony than when the Kendall family moved their small hardware store into that large space, formerly owned by a competitor. Today we're faced with a similar David and Goliath story. Small businesses are the economic Davids in our economy, and they battle against the Goliaths of big government and big business. I'm proud to stand with the job creators of this county and support this council resolution. Let's ensure that politics and power don't defeat people and private property rights. Thank you and good night.
I'm Luke Tung. My address is 6467 Galway Drive, Maryland. I'm a member of Boy Scout Troop 737, and I am a Life Scout and the former SPL, or Senior Patrol Leader. In my years as a Scout, many of my senior Scouts who taught me valuable Scout skills and values to be a better Scout. Kendall's Hardware has helped many of these senior Scouts reach the rank of Eagle, which is the highest rank in Scouts. Kendall's Hardware helps finance, supply, and support many Eagle projects each year. Without the support of Kendall's Hardware, many Eagle Scout projects might not be as successful as they normally are. I hope within the future, Kendall's will be able to help with future Scouts, such as myself, with their projects. Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much. My name is Alan Kittleman. I live at 3030 Kittleman Lane, West Friendship, Maryland, 21794, and I have the great privilege of being the state senator for District 9, which is where Kendall's and the Pizza Hut are located. And as you said, welcome back to this room. I sat where you sat for 6 years, and I know you don't have an easy job. I know you get a lot of people testifying in favor and opposing different things and put yourselves in pretty difficult situations sometimes. Tonight's not one. Tonight, I haven't heard one person other than the county government testifying in favor of doing what the county executive wants to do to Kendall's and Pizza Hut. Not one person. And so for you, it should not be a difficult decision. Don't be enablers. Councilwoman Watson's right. You're a separate part of government. But if you allow what the county executive wants to do, you're enabling him to do what he's doing to Kendall's. You can stop him. You can stop him. It's not fair to Pizza Hut. What I hear from Pizza Hut is incredible. That they could have gone through this entire process and then be put on hold just because they're basically being extorted to say they have to put a road. That's just wrong.
That's right.
And for you to allow that to happen is injustice. So you have a lot of hard decisions to make. This one's not one. Thank you.